when this energy, especially with ascension, all this higher vibration coming in, it's a time for us to relax and to allow all of the negativity, anxiety, or depression are going to come up and they're going to feel really true. They might feel like reality. But as you guys know, fear, false evidence appearing real, when you know you have these physical symptoms, you can take a step back and say, ooh, everything's happening for me. You're further along than your mind thinks you are. Okay, a sign that these things are coming up or showing that you are growing, is showing that you are on this ascension path, you are keeping up with your expansion, and especially the physical body takes a little bit. If you're doing some deep diving energetic work. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sovereign Self Show. I am your host, Loren Cellentani, your somatic success coach, and this show is here to help you learn that your body and emotions are not in the way, they are leading the way. And today I wanted to jump on and do a little bit of a personal episode, but also, as an empath, as a light worker, you guys can probably relate to all of the crazy energy going on, right, in our reality, politics, worldwide, but just the energy and the quickening, I feel like, timeline shifts that we've been receiving has been crazy, and it just sped up over this year in 2025. I'm recording this in mid-February, after the planetary alignment began and just all of the Schumann resonance. If you look at the solar flares coming to Earth, we have been getting hit, y'all, like left and right. So if you guys have been experiencing weird physical symptoms, headaches, nausea, joint pain, fatigue, digestive issues, bloating, these are all possible ascension symptoms. So I wanted to take a moment in this to record this episode because what's our motto? Your body is leading the way. What's actually happening through all of these symptoms, what we can actually do from a physical standpoint, from an energetic standpoint, in order to, yes, dampen and not have as severe symptoms, but to integrate this wisdom and this energy coming through. That's really why it's happening anyway. So a little bit about me and my journey. We are traveling full time. We just got to our wood cabin in the woods in Blue Ridge Mountain area. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, I'm in our loft. We're literally in this cute little tiny cabin, tiny home. And it looks like I'm in a wood sauna right now. But, just from traveling, we've been here almost a week. Just from traveling to new locations, we've been traveling full time since August of last year. I've noticed my body, the integration period, yes, we're just driving, but the energy from shifting from one physical location to the next has really impacted me in my body. And I was like, well, is this like, is it because, I'm not eating as healthy on the road? What's happening? And I started to realize, oh, these are very similar to the symptoms of when you get done with a energy healing or you're in a really deep retreat, in that there's these physical symptoms, ascension symptoms that come to the surface because your body is going to move energy in the way of least resistance. And sometimes that's physical. Sometimes that is actually getting sick or digestively. And so I realized, oh my goodness, one of the reasons why we are traveling full time is because we're integrating these different codes in the actual physical point of the Earth, working with the Earth grid, Gaia's grid, which, many friends do grid work. I never was called to grid work, but I'm so somatic and I can feel these things. And I realized through me physically being at these locations that I actually was integrating the energy for Gaia, for the collective at these physical locations. And I think I really noticed this when we first got to our last location and on the beach. We were in Myrtle Beach in the winter on purpose because we wanted to be able to cold plunge in the ocean, which we did pretty much every day, or the pool. And I realized a lot of fear was coming up around the ocean, around these waves. I love swimming. I'm a great swimmer. I grew up on the lake. I love swimming in the ocean. It's my happy place. We lived in Florida for many years, and I'm just like the happiest person in the ocean. But for some reason, it was like I was going to die. And I had to take a look and say, oh, this is something deeper coming up. This location, this energy is happening for me. And when I took the time to actually work with my energy, work with my body, I got to actually unlock some wisdom, some codes that were there at the location, but through my body. And this is how I want to tie in this whole episode here was the ocean wave. And this is a technique I haven't talked about, but this is going to be an awesome technique for you guys to do. The ocean itself, the waves, the reason why I was bringing so much anxiety is because my heart was trying to open it, but it was also trying to control. It was restricting. But as you guys know, these big waves in the ocean, you can't control nature. You can't control the waves. You have to learn to surrender. So once I started just working with the energy, sitting there and listening to the waves, I realized that wave, the energy where you hear the water recede back and there's this like void, this momentary pause when the wave is just about at the peak before it crashes down. That was the invitation for me to slow my breath down, open my heart up, and pause in the void, and exhale as the wave crashing down to release and transmute anything coming up. And that was a huge thing that I was like, oh my goodness, how was I not seeing this? And after that, yes, the fear was still there a little bit with the waves, but once I started working with the nature, working with myself in that way, I realized my heart was opening, but it was opening to a different level, a more cosmic level, to allow more wisdom to come through, which the aspect of that is actually surrendering. And well, there's so many stories I want to share with you guys today. Another story from that last location was, I was listening to a podcast and actually a Gaia TV show. I'll share a link in the show notes for a free 7-day trial of Gaia. I love Gaia. It's like the spiritual Netflix. I've got tons of yoga. If you're into yoga, documentaries, everything. But I was listening to a show called Open Minds on there, which is like a podcast. And she was interviewing a woman about past life. She's a past life, does past life work, like Dolores Cannon trained. Her name is Sarah Brexman Cosmo. And she was sharing about ancient Avalon and what she's learned through regressing these people. And when these beautiful goddesses, these oracles, got into this oracle state, which is a trance in ancient Avalon. If you don't know, Avalon was like the precursor to the Druids in England, Britannia, after Atlantis timeline, but before the Druids around that time. Still incorporating a lot of the old wisdom. And they would get into these trance-like states and practice a specific movement, which they just secured their feet on the ground, and they practice shaking, moving the energy to transmute out the negativity from the earth through their bodies, from humanity, from consciousness. And it was like a huge shock to me because I was just thinking about how much clearer my skin has been consistently, since we've been traveling, but also a little before that, which I've struggled with acne my whole life. I was doing very strict protocols, medical medium protocol, which is such a beautiful healing modality for years. Still struggle with acne, but it wasn't until I heard her say that she said, people today who have had past lives in that time or still have that kind of energy, who have skin issues like chronic acne, your body is trying to still transmute that energy. But it doesn't, you're not consciously transmuting the energy, so it comes out through your skin, through the path of least resistance, like I said earlier, those ascension symptoms. So I was like, oh my gosh, my morning practice, 2 feet on the ground to really shake my energy out, but to twerk my lower hips to really activate that creative energy. And a lot of that time, naturally just transmute some of the grumpiness, some of the negativity, the anxiety. And I won't stop doing it until I'm genuinely happy, until I'm genuinely smiling. And that was the exact practice that she was talking about in this show. And I'm like, of course, my skin has been clear because I am consciously, proactively helping myself by transmuting my energy, by transmuting Earth's energy, by transmuting the collective's energy through this physical way. So it doesn't have to come out through my skin. Those are two examples, kind of location-based, that I've learned from traveling, that I was like, oh, wow, this is really how the trigger's the way. Let's just say that. I think that's a beautiful way to describe this is the obstacle is the way. Your body is not in the way. It's leading the way. How can we become curious? How can we support ourselves to find a solution, right? Through some of these uncomfortable symptoms at time. And I want to come back to ascension symptoms right now. You know, me, my friends, my partner, who's not even into this woo as much as I am, everybody is kind of feeling this collective craziness going on right now. And I really know the Earth frequency is shifting higher, the Schumann resonance. There's been a ton of solar flares. So what all this means is, one, to be very clear, you are not a victim to any of the astrological collective energies, solar flares, ascension, whatever. This is all happening for you. And the purpose of this episode is for you to feel more empowered and to be that sovereign self in these situations when you are feeling a lot, physically, energetically, emotionally, and have the tools to feel empowered through those situations. Okay, so I want to underline that first. But all of these energies, I've talked about this a lot, and a lot of my teachings are these principles. Energy always matches up. So when you go into a dark cave, all you see is darkness. But when you have a flashlight, you turn that on, where does the darkness go? It has to come to the actual light. So with that principle, whether it is the internal work, whether it is a solar flare or some planetary alignment, does not matter. But all of the gunk, all of the energy, all of the subconscious stuff that's no longer serving you is going to come up to be released, come up to be transmuted. And sometimes that is something more physical, something like fatigue, something like digestive stuff coming up, skin issues, achy joints. Some of these things are just kind of everyday things that people think are normal, but are actually your body learning to process and transmute this old, denser energy to align with this higher resonance, to align with this higher vibration and frequency. And sometimes that can be uncomfortable, whether it is through more intense physical signs, symptoms, or emotional, energetic, because, I just got off recording another episode for the show with an interview, and we did talk about, she was hospitalized for 70 days for COVID, and, the physical, mental, emotional stuff she's still dealing with years later. But how much the fear and the negative self-talk and all these silly negative beliefs come up during those times too. Whether you have chronic illness or you're experiencing ascension symptoms like this, you can relate. But that's part of the energy releasing too. And that's something that through traveling full time, not having my own normal home base, not, having the normal routine that I've been able to really realize is, yes, I'm the woman in total control of herself, and I know how to regulate myself. But when this energy, especially with ascension, all this higher vibration coming in, comes up, it's a time for us to relax and to allow all of the negativity, the symptoms of, anxiety or depression or the imposter syndrome are going to come up, and they're going to feel really true. They might feel like reality. But as you guys know, fear, false evidence appearing real, when you know you have these physical symptoms, when you know these self-doubt kind of negative thoughts come up, you can take a step back and say, "Ooh, everything's happening for me." Okay, number one. Number two, you're further along than your mind thinks you are. Okay, a sign that these things are coming up or showing that you are growing, is showing that you are on this ascension path, you are keeping up with your expansion. And especially the physical body takes a little bit. If you're doing some deep diving energetic work into yourself, into your mission, sometimes it does take a little bit, even just declaring, hey, this is my intention of who I'm going to be. This is how I'm going to show up today. We just got to this location, and yesterday was Monday, and my partner had this awesome idea. It's like, okay, tomorrow we both work from home. We have unlimited time freedom, really. What if we approached this week or indefinitely as we have a 9-to-5? Okay, which is a completely different way of thinking about how we work and how we create them before. Because if we're really looking at ourselves and what we're doing and creating as this business, think about the focus and the momentum that we can build. And it's been a few years since I've had that 9-to-5. So approaching this yesterday, Monday, integrating, still feeling some symptoms from all this energy coming up. But I was like, all right, I'm showing up Monday morning, waking up, getting ready, got a good outfit on, put my hoops on, got everything ready to go, approaching this as my millionaire self. I'm showing up now, regardless of if the $1 million is here or not, in that energy. And just me declaring that, oh my gosh, I gotta tell you guys, I woke up excited, did my morning routine, feeling great, started getting to work, but about late morning-ish, I think I took about 5 naps yesterday. Went on a bunch of walks because it was my perspective changed about who I was going to be, set this intention, so my body was physically upgrading. I could literally feel like my upper chakras, it was mostly my head, my third eye, my pineal gland, weird pressure, confusion, weird dizziness, almost migraine symptoms, but not quite. Some digestive stuff thrown in there too, but enough where I literally could not focus on work. I had to get outside, had to honestly just relax and take a break. And knowing that, and this is what really inspired me to record this episode, is knowing that just because I took a bunch of naps yesterday, that's a successful work day. Okay? When we can learn to work with our body, when we can learn to integrate this wisdom and listen to our body, you don't know how far you actually are, right? That goes back to that previous point of your body is catching up to the energy work. You are a creator. You are a sovereign being. And when you make a powerful, focused, clear intention like that, yes, your reality is going to change, but your body sometimes has to catch up as well. So I started giving myself a little bit of hard time laying in bed. I could feel the stories. And then I watched a few TV shows last night, and I checked myself and said, Loren, I know this is a pattern in the past of self-sabotaging, wanting to binge show, checking out, not feeling what's coming up. Is this what's happening? And really asking those questions, talking to myself, still kind of feeling and hearing the victim voice come up, but it was more from this observer point of view. And it was like, no, I get to allow, and I get to relax and do things that are fun. And I also get to still show up and push myself too. So I ended up watching a few episodes, relaxing, feeling better. And then I, went to get ready for bed, and I was like, I didn't really, what's one thing I could just push myself to do? Because I was feeling kind of victim-y, right? As this energy's moving through me. Cold shower. Took a hot shower, mid-shower, I was like, nope, I'm drawing that line in the sand, not because this is what I should be doing, but because this is who I am. That declaration I made this morning as this millionaire mom self, starting her 9-to-5 in her business. this is what I would do. And it was like instant from that experience, from just turning on cold water, which basically all the cold plunge does is it allows you to be fully present. All of those stories, all of the fears, all of the projections. When you go into the cold, you can't bring that with you. You can't bring it with you. You are just focused on being present, focused on calming yourself down and regulating your body and your breath. And something as simple as that, which brings me to this last point of how do we actually work with this energy? What's the balance of when you're feeling these kind of ascension symptoms, whether it is just a collective thing or you're making some massive moves in your life, or maybe you came home from a retreat and you're feeling this way because a lot of, powerful retreats, your body's going to take some time to catch up. I would say, number one, how to support yourself best. Sleep. Getting enough sleep. Even today, we were like, oh, let's do the 9 to 5. Today, I didn't wake up until 9 because I knew yesterday with all the symptoms, I wasn't going to push myself to get out of bed because I needed that extra sleep and that extra nourishment to really integrate and allow that energy, set myself up for success. So sleep, number one, huge things. These things might seem very simple from a physical standpoint, but are really, really going to help in the long run, in the short term. 2, drinking enough water. Okay. I think if people just stayed hydrated, I used to be a health coach and work with the women who had a lot of digestive issues. If we just drank enough water throughout the day, 90% of our physical symptoms would be gone. Okay, so an easy way, especially if you're integrating some energy, or you are doing a physical cleanse too, is drink half your body's weight in pounds. Drink that many ounces. So let's say you're 120 pounds. You would drink 60 ounces of water a day. Easy math there, just how much you weigh divided by 2. That's how much water to drink. That's a lot of water, okay? But what it does is it allows to flush out your symptoms, any physical detoxing in your body to flush it out to minimize the symptoms. But from an energetic point of view, okay, water stores memory. Water stores energy. There's tons of research, Dr. Emoto, around just setting your intention, saying hateful words to water and then freezing it versus saying loving words to water and freezing it. The hateful water, the frozen crystal that was formed was very erratic, very just entropy is the word I'm looking for. Just random, didn't look pretty, not coherent, not organized whatsoever. But then when you look at the frozen, loving, and high vibration intended ice that was formed, it's a beautiful, symmetric, sacred geometry, Fibonacci sequence, all of the fractal kind of energy, beautifully organized, beautifully created, just by setting the intention and saying words out loud to the water. And you can do the same. There's an experiment. You can do it with your kids even. Doing the same thing to a seed and watering the seed and seeing the hateful seed not grow, if not die and have mold and all this other issues, versus the same plant and seed that you speak positive words to. Why I'm saying this is because water is an energetic tool. So setting your intention, you can say it out loud before you drink the water, or you can just before you eat even, but especially drinking, you can just hold the water, look at it, whenever, get to the state of gratitude, whatever, just thankful for the water and the helping and the healing, set the intention and let go of the outcome. The beautiful example on how to amplify the aspects of just being hydrated. And I know a lot of my friends, I used to have a crystal water bottle that had a crystal in it that helped amplify the energy. And a lot of my friends have inspired me to incorporate light language. So if you're familiar with light language and you feel called to channel it or share it, you can bless your water with light language through your hands, through speaking it. Or my one friend just started doing is start to write the light language on your actual water bottle and just have it on there and throughout the day drink it as a blessing to help energize that water to a higher vibration to really help you as you're ascending your own DNA, really. I think the last thing, these are 3 really simple things, is to get outside. Okay, we're not supposed to be inside. I notice my mental health, and my partner will point out, you have been outside all day, and no wonder you're feeling anxious, cooped up, all of this stuff. Just getting outside to ground in whatever environment you're in, rain, snow, sun, doesn't matter. If you can, get those shoes off, ground to the earth. That's going to just help integrate. It's just such a beautiful feeling to just get outside and allow those energies, whatever wants to come up, whatever wants to come through, as you're going through these ascension symptoms. And to wrap this all up, what's really going on is we're shedding the old energy. We're shedding this more 3D, DNA, and we're really upgrading our DNA to this more crystalline grid, which means, I don't know the percentage, but I know that back in I think the 90s, whenever I was growing up, they did all this huge, the genome project, mapping our human genome. And there was so much, quote unquote, junk DNA that they were like, we don't use it. We don't know what it's for. It's just junk, just extra stuff. Well, my belief is that's what we're awakening now. Bashar talks about, we're not actually fully human yet. And I think we are beginning to awaken to our full humanity, to, yes, our spiritual capabilities, but just being the creators of our lives and remembering we're not alone in this universe. Humanity, I feel like we sometimes have such a singular point of view, but opening ourselves up that we're not the only beings in this universe. And the more that we can raise our vibration, the more that we can integrate and allow all these ascension symptoms to come up, no matter where we are on the earth, the higher we're going to raise our collective energy, and the more the collective tipping point of we're really ascending to this new earth vibration. And at some point, my heart knows and is very excited when we are going to have contact with extra dimensionals, extraterrestrials, but they're waiting for us. It's like the Star Trek Prime Directive of like not interfering with a growing civilization before they get to warp speed is what they say, but before they reached a level of consciousness and evolution in order to really responsibly be a part of the galactic community. If you look at it that way, you're not going to give a violent child this technology and weapons if they don't know how to properly use it responsibly. So I really believe that we're feeling this collectively for a higher purpose. We're all stepping into really our full potential as humanity, welcoming in our galactic family, which I don't talk about that much on this podcast, but that's a huge part of my life, is like knowing that that's part of what interests me, that's part of what drives me to continue with my work. Is I know that humanity, we're here to remember who we are, and we have such unique experience of our own evolution that we actually have a lot of these extra dimensional star sisters and brothers DNA as humans. And we have this awesome ability to be able to tap into all of that through this awakening process, to be way more powerful than we think we are. And I hope this episode was helpful for you guys. Just remember, your body's not in the way, it's leading the way. And sometimes it just needs some extra support, needs some extra time to integrate. And always, 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 after I allow myself, even if it's like an hour or a day, it doesn't matter the time, the clarity, the ideas, the confidence, the aha moments, the solutions always, always, always come in through just allowing and relaxing and surrendering and trusting every single thing is happening for me. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe, write a review. That helps us really share this podcast on whatever platform to as many souls out there ready to receive this message, this transmission. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you guys in next episode.